We're going to make a GUI for the HUD system. So for the HUD, what we want to do is make like a, we have two options. We have one that is a heart style. We'll go to HUD here inside of our default set GUI HUD. We have a heart and a bar. We'll start with the heart. So this is basically pieces. So if you notice the pieces right here, you have different pieces that show how each one goes. You have a enter and an exit mode for it. And then you have idle mode, and every one of these has a has a single cycle and then a loop cycle, so you can have a lot of animation involved with it if you're wanting to do it this way. There is also a option for thumbnail, half, quarter, and whole, and meaning that if you want to do the heart, so these are going to be specific. This is set for a 4-frame type of play. It has 4 corners. You can, though, you can actually just set 2 on it. We're going to open this here. You can set 2 or you can do the whole thing. We're going to set it up, though, so that it is set for what it was intended for, which is 4 quadrants on it. So if I click on the heart here, and we'll just scroll down and choose GUI. We'll say GUI HUD. This would be a HUD heart. And you could say 4 part. We'll turn off our receive light. Let's move this up to 2. Animations will move down to about 4 to 6. Let's go ahead and grab our thumbnail here. So we're going to do when it comes to the thumbnail, we're going to say thumbnail whole. Let's see, actually no, we'll do quarter. Yeah, we'll do the quarter one. Turn our colliders off. And everything else is fine. We'll just drop it down to the very bottom for the actual GUI pieces. So the GUI type, we're saying is going to be a HUD. Alright. GUI animations, the HUD doesn't actually use these in that in terms of its purpose. You could put stuff in here, but the design of it is intended for a set of animations to animate through the HUD bar. So whether it's a single bar pieces for health pieces or for a score, or whatever it may be tied to with the watcher. I'm going to go ahead and go down to the input, and we'll turn off, let's see, we'll turn off everything except drag. We'll say you can still drag it around the scene just in case you want to move it. Camera options, GUI and show camera and GUI. Anchor's fine, those are fine. Alright. So after that point, we have a couple of options here for animations and HUD settings. If we go to our HUD settings first, we have the options inside of here. There is a editor display count. Is how many is going to show on this. If you wanted to have, for instance, like with this one, you could have it where it's 4 quadrants for each heart, and then you have, like, if you were to say each one is worth 10 points, this would be 40 points, or you could say it's worth 5 points, so it'd be 5, 10, 15, 20, and then you would have you'd have 5 hearts to make the 100. So you could say this has a display count of 5, and when you drop it in, it'll automatically show on editor side what it'll look like inside the game side. So the value per HUD image, we're going to say is 20. The offset HUD images, this is just basically how far do you want the offset to be. This is currently 1 full tile, so default of 10. So if you say offset 10, you're saying that it's going to be 10 and then 20, 30, 40. This one, again, you can check it inside of Build a Game just in case you need to see it more clearly, and then come back into here, place your value correctly. If you're going to be using a tweening option for it, so instead of animating at the enter exit, you want to have it kind of like grow and shrink when it comes in and out, then you can use the tween and say enter and exit, enable this one. And then there's a time for both, for the show and the hide, and then you have the options for tweening in and out. All right, so those are the basic setup for the HUD settings. Now we'll just go ahead and run through our list for the HUD animations. HUD animation has up to 10. So you have the 10 options to be able to say you want to do a set of bars or pieces for it. We'll go ahead and place in our enter and our exit. And then let's see, go ahead and do the idle start. And I think idle start will be 0. Yep. Okay. So now you have on here, we're just going to say action 1 and then idle. So action is saying something happens, the player gets hit, it plays losing this bar piece, whether it's a fade out or whether it breaks off or whatever the animation is going to be. And then after the action happens, you go back to an idle state. What does it look like after this point of it just idling? So we'll say action 1, and then go down to our idle 1, action 2, idle 2. So we're just going to fill these out for, I think we have like 3 or 4 of them. Yeah. So action. There we go. So for this one, all we're using are the first 4 right here, because we only have 4 that we actually need. Based on the number of states you use, so for instance, I'm using 4 states. When it sees the 4 states, what it's saying is that there's only 4 animations to play. Now we have our value set for 20. So that's just simply saying 4 into 20 is 5. So it's actually setting it up that if we do, like I'm showing this for the editor, but by default, the game side is going to say, okay, you're only saying 20. It's going to take how many images you have and divide it out, and then show you that value. All right, and that's actually between those two, the 2 HUD elements right there. And if you go all the way down to the watcher here, you just want to say display value with and choose image, because we just want to see the image being displayed, not the text value that would come from the other object being tagged. You could do fade. Fade's just going to say that after a certain amount of time, it just fades back out. Some of the players, you may want to have a HUD bar above the player's head that fades out. For this one, we'll assume this would be like on the top corner. It would just kind of stay in the scene the whole time. Alright, so just be sure you have the image checked right there.